everyone. This is Elder Yates coming to you today from the Eagle's Nest. I am so excited about the guest that I have today, Miss Sherry Moss. Woo woo! Now she's not only just my guest, she's my sorrow.
Yes.
So I'm so excited about that. So you know my motto is for the Eagle's Nest, you may be in it, but you're coming out soaring. And this is a special month this month. This is the month of October, and it's breast cancer awareness. And I am so excited that Miss Moss is a breast cancer survivor. So we're excited about that today. And we're just gonna have a little conversation today, just talking about breast cancer and however way Miss Moss wanna share in her story or anything like that. But we just want to come in today and just have a little conversation. So y'all know how I do the Eagle's Nest. I don't introduce my guests. I let them introduce themselves in their very own special way. So Miss Moss, will you let the people know who you are in your own special way?
Thank you, Elder Yates, Sarah Yates. I am Sherry Moss. I am the youngest of 11 children to the late Manuel and Little May McDonald from Heidelberg, Mississippi. And I attended Jackson State University where I received my bachelor's degree in mass communications.
Wow.
And I am a member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated.
Yes.
I'm a life member of the Jackson State University National Alumni Association.
Wow.
I am a member of B.R. Giles Assembly 257, Order of the Golden Circle.
Now, come on, Miss Moss. Come on, Miss
I'm
Moss.
a member of the Order of Eastern Star Alabama Jurisdiction, where I serve as the Grand Associate Matron for the jurisdiction of Alabama.
Now, you see, when you let people introduce themselves, you find out a lot of interesting stuff, and I am finding out a lot of interesting stuff.
Yes, and I also serve as the Grand Secretary for the Alabama Council of Assemblies for the jurisdiction of Alabama.
Now, Miss Moss, you have a busy schedule.
Yeah, I have a busy schedule, and I like keeping busy. I'm married to Sammy Moss, and we have 2 sons, Travis and Trent.
Now, look at that, TNT.
Yeah, SNS and TNT.
Oh, now, see, now that is something right there. That is special in itself. Now, Miss Moss, in all of this stuff that you do, you still find time to just be as vibrant as you are, to be the person that you are. Now, how do you wear all of these hats like that?
Well, you have to prioritize some things, and the organization that I'm in, I love those organizations, so I'm gonna give my 100%. I just don't like being just a paid member. I like to come in and work.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes a difference when you're doing different things that you love, and then you give it your all, because a lot of times we find ourselves doing a lot of things and it's not always something that we love. And
Right.
you know, my sister used to tell me sometimes you busy doing nothing, you know, because you find stuff to be busy in, but it's not always something that you love. And a lot of times some people start getting frustrated, like, I'm doing all this stuff. What is it, something that you really love?
Right.
And so seeing you say the different things that you was a part of and how you managed to prioritize it and do them all is because of the simple fact that you love them so much. Now we're gonna get into talking about it, since it's a breast cancer awareness month, and then you are a survivor.
Yes, I am. I am a survivor, a thriver, and
yes, you are thriving. You are thriving, because if
yes.
someone was to look at you, just that's why I say you never know a person's story until a person starts sharing their story.
Right, exactly.
And just to look at you, just to see you in your everyday activities and everything you do, no one would even really have known that you have even had breast cancer and that you went through breast cancer until you shared your story. Because I didn't even know until you shared your story at a meeting that we had. And I was like, wow.
Yes. I was diagnosed with breast cancer on January the 2nd, 2018.
Wow.
So
that wasn't too long ago.
No, just 4 years. 4 years, a little 4 years ago. And I had felt a lump in my breast, and it was back in December, right before Christmas. So I had to wait until January to see my doctor.
Right.
So that was a kind of stressful period,
Imagine
not
it was.
knowing. So I went to see my doctor, and we did a mammogram, and she did look at it, and she said, "Oh, it looks like you have breast cancer." Then the initial shock, like, what?
Yeah.
And so then you have your little meltdown, and then
Right.
so I called my husband to let him know, so to see what course of action we was going to take.
Right.
So after I left her office, and she said she was going to refer me to a doctor, a surgeon,
Right.
that would to do the surgery. And so, I said, want to do the surgery to look at my situation, to see what the best course of action.
Right.
So I went back to my truck, and I took a deep cleansing breath. And I said, Lord, you got this.
Yes.
I said, Lord, you got this. This is bigger than me. You got this.
Yes.
So when I said that, I just felt a calmness.
Yes.
A release.
Yes.
And I wasn't worried. I called my family, and I was telling them, and they was bringing out, like, okay, I don't need this. I said, I am going to be okay. I'm just letting you all know what is going on, but I am going to be okay.
You had settled that within yourself.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So I called other family members, my sister-in-laws, and some sorority sisters from Jackson State. I shared it with them, and they were just kind of losing it themselves. I said, look,
you don't need to break down now. We got to
at the end of our conversation, they did say, "Okay, girl, you done help me." I said, "It's gonna be okay." So I did go see the surgeon, and he said that it hadn't spread it anywhere, so we just gonna go in and do the surgery and remove the lump. I had a lumpectomy, and so I had to go see an oncologist and to see what type of treatment after he removed the lump, to see was there any traces of cancer left.
Right.
But anyway, he did tell me that he got it all, but he did want me to go see an oncologist. So I did go to see my oncologist, and we talked, and he was telling me about the different type of treatments, chemo treatments.
Right.
And so, but he did tell me, he said, now you have the option of getting a second opinion if you like. And he said, I will help you find a doctor to give you that second opinion.
Right.
And so he did. He gave me a lady oncologist at UAB in Alabama.
Okay.
In Birmingham, and I went to see her because the treatment he wanted me to be on was I was going to have to take 6 weeks of chemo every 2 weeks.
Right.
So when I went to see her, she recommended a different cocktail of me having chemo treatments, 4 chemo treatments every 3 weeks.
Okay.
And so I'm like, okay, I'll go with that. And so because my husband had gone with me to the doctor in Birmingham, and so I came back and I made an appointment with Dr. Cassell to let him know what I decided to do. So when I told him, he said, well, that's fine. You got your second opinion. She gave me the, I had written out what she wanted me to take in the chemo. So he said, when you want to start? I said, well, let's get it started.
Let's get it going.
Because I told him, I said, I got things to do and I got places to go.
Because Miss Mouse loves to go.
Yes.
And that's the thing that that I like the way you said that even though you went to this doctor, he still kind of like respected you enough to say
Right.
if you want to get a second opinion,
Right,
because
exactly.
they understand that this is not always an easy process
Right.
for a person to go to, and that
Mhm.
shows, that doctor wasn't just trying to say, I'm just going
Right,
to do
right,
this
right,
and
right.
treat you, and this is going to be the only treatment
Right,
option
right,
that you have.
exactly.
And I like the way you said that they gave you the opportunity to seek out a second opinion, because my profession, by profession, I'm a cytotechnologist. And so that's what I specialize in. Is we specialize in cancer diagnosis. And so a lot of times when we sitting there at work and we see different things to come in, and I say to myself a lot of times, I say, God, I'm thankful for the profession that you have given me. But a lot of times when we're sitting there and we're screening our sides and we're seeing the cells, and when we see the cancer come across, it's almost at that point I just start praying for that person, because we're the first person that comes in contact with whatever's going on with that person. And just to know that in that instant God put me in a place where I could say, Lord, be with this person, or be, touch the doctors when they, make them tell the person that they have, whatever's going on with them, that they be gentle in telling people, because sometimes that's not always something that's easy to hear.
Right, exactly.
Especially when, you're doing different things, and some people say, I'm in the prime of my life, and they hear that diagnosis, almost like, oh, is this the end for me,
Right,
and so, it's almost like it's a very sensitive subject. And I've been around a lot of different people who've been diagnosed with the breast cancer, and the thing that I've seen in every person that has had it, and has went through, is the resilience that comes once.
Exactly. You have to it's all in your attitude of how you process it.
Right.
If you thinking that you're gonna die and just feel down, it's gonna push your spirit, and you're gonna be worried all the time. And so and I just didn't have that worry.
Right.
And that's just me. I just didn't have that worry, because deep down in my spirit, I knew that I was going to be okay.
Right.
Yes, I knew I was going to be okay. So we scheduled the chemo, and I was fine. Some people that was telling me, that they get sick and they feel weak behind the chemo. But my first treatment was fine. I didn't feel weak. I didn't get sick. I didn't feel nauseated or anything.
And that's that peace that God had gave you when you went into it.
And all 4 of my treatments, I did not get sick.
Wow, now that's a blessing.
Yes,
Blessing.
That's just a bonus blessing, because one of my girlfriend, my church members, when my husband couldn't bring me to the treatment to get my chemo, my girlfriend from church would bring me to the treatment center, and after I have my treatment, we go and eat, have a great conversation, and I go on home. She bring me on home. But in the midst of my treatment, my oldest son was in a really bad car accident.
Wow.
This was going into my second treatment. So he was in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, in the intensive care.
Wow.
So I was there with him all while he was in ICU. I was there with him, and we got hotel rooms for me to just get some rest at night, instead of trying to sleep in that hospital chair.
Right, and those chairs are very uncomfortable.
Exactly.
I don't know who they think can be comfortable in the hospital room, them chairs like that.
But we was blessed to get hotel rooms the whole time that we was there.
Oh, that's a blessing.
And we would get up and early, go to the hospital, stay with him all day, and in the evening.
So were you taking your treatments at the same time that he was there?
Yes. I would. The time when I had to take my treatment, I would drive home. That Sunday, I would take my treatment that Monday, and I would drive back to Tuscaloosa.
Wow.
I would drive back to
Now
Tuscaloosa.
it was in, like some
Yeah.
people say, within yourself that was nothing but
God,
the
yes,
grace of God, the
yes,
strength of God,
yes,
all
yes,
of that,
yes,
even in the midst of you going through what you were
yes.
going through, God still gave you strength to be there for your son
Yes,
when
he
he
did.
needed you the most. So it's
Yes.
almost like God was saying, I don't need you to break down right now
Right.
because he needs you at this moment too. And that took something on the inside of you to be able to stand up in that and knowing that even though I'm going through what I'm going through, my son needs me. And it's almost like you didn't negate the fact that you was going through what you were going through, but you pulled on the strength that you had from going back.
Yes.
Now you see, a lot of people wouldn't been able to do that because they've been saying, I'm going through my go through. I know my son is experienced, but it's almost like that had to be more or less not necessarily mental, but you had to be in a place where your mental, your mental aspect wasn't always just focused on what you were going through,
right.
but you also was able to see the need and what other people were going through a long time. So basically, even though you was needing healing, you was being a healing to your son, and then God was in turn
healing me and strengthening me because he gave me the strength to get through because I was in Tuscaloosa from April until May.
Wow.
Yes.
That was a long time.
Yes, from April until May. He came home the 26th of May. After his rehab. He came home the 26th of May. And during that time, I had finished up my chemo in May. So after that, I had to start radiation.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So I was still at home, thank God. My job, I was fine with my job. I was off and to be there with him because he had a broken neck, so he had to wear the halo. So he needed care 24/7, so I had to be there. And so, and when I started my radiation treatments, I would get up early. I would make my appointment really early, like at 7 o'clock.
Right.
And so by that, I would leave him at home. He would be at home sleep. I would come out here, drive out here, get my radiation for 10 minutes, and I drive back home. And he would still be asleep by when I got back.
Wow. See, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's why
and this was 5 days a week.
See, I love God.
Yeah.
God is so awesome. That's why I say knowing Him is something
and
that
have faith in Him and trust in Him that He's gonna do what He says He's gonna do.
So when He promised you,
yes.
We can that's something that you can take His word to His promise and take it to the bank. Because when He promised you something,
just trust Him. Just give all your cares and your burdens to Him.
And you didn't even know in the midst of Him when you first got diagnosed and Him giving you the peace to let you know that it was going to be okay, that your son was going to be in the midst of what he was going through. But at the beginning of it, He had already given you peace. So it was almost like whatever the enemy wanted to try to throw up or do whatever, you still had that peace within you to know that everything was going to be okay. And that right there in itself, that speaks about, that's an encouragement to anybody who's dealing with any situation, that when God gives you that peace, you can rest in that peace. So when anything that comes up,
you try to get rattled.
And that's what He did for you. He allowed you, and then with you going through, I see something else that He allowed you to do. When you going through, He didn't give you even time to even think about your situation.
Oh, no.
Because you couldn't think about your situation.
But I just, taking care of him and, going to my treatments every day when we did come home, and feeding him and bathing him, I mean, He just strengthened me to do that. And I just thank Him daily for Him giving me that strength because I wasn't sick.
Right.
In my spirit, I wasn't sick.
Right.
Yeah.
Even though you're, like I said, that outer person has that fleshy man who had something going on, but your spirit man was whole and you was able to endure what was going on in your life. And that right there just...
And, when July came around, I had a chance to, I have my Order of Eastern Star Conference in July, and I went to my conference. A friend of ours was a good friend of Travis, and they said, well, we'll give you a break. We're gonna look after Travis. Travis can come stay with us until you go to your meeting or whatever you need to do. So that's what I did. I went to my Eastern Star meeting in July for 3 days. Then I left Mobile, Alabama, went to New Orleans to our National Zeta Phi Beta Sorority National Boule in New Orleans.
Wow.
And stayed down there for 5 days.
Didn't skip a beat.
Didn't skip a beat. Came home and finished my treatments.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That speaks to the goodness of God.
Yes.
How God will do something like that. And that comes from having a relationship.
Yeah, definitely having a relationship and relying on your faith and in the strength of God. Just believing what He said He's going to do for you.
And like I said, He has
and whatever His will is for me.
Right.
And whatever His will is, I what was bad, good or bad, I just had to accept it.
Right.
But I'm just glad His will was for me to live.
And me too, because I got to meet you. Because I didn't meet you until was it 2020?
Yeah.
Right when in the beginning when COVID hit. So thank you for allowing me to be able to meet Miss Moss, because like I said, it's just been a joy to even know you. Though I met you through Zeta, but still I got a chance to meet you and to know of the person of you.
Right, exactly.
And that speaks, that's a blessing to me, because, you only meet people in your lifetime, at certain times in your life, people cross your path for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And I'm just thankful for the opportunity that you have crossed my path, the grace that you have and everything like that, the way, the outlook that you have on life and everything, that even though the situation that happened to you and it came in your life, it did not get you in a place where you were down or you was feeling sorry for yourself or anything like that.
I just felt in my spirit that, I was going to live my best life, and I was going to live, the way God intended for me to live, to experience things and not to be depressed about your situation, because once you give it to Him, you got to leave it there with you. You can't just take it back.
Right. That's what a lot of us do. You take it to Him and say, God,
then you're gonna try to try to help Him fix it.
And He's gonna be like, I got this.
Right. So you have to be totally release everything to Him, and you just have to have a great attitude about life.
Right.
Life, you go through life, you trials and tribulation, and that's going to come.
Right.
And that's a given.
Right.
But it's just how you handle those trials and tribulations.
And then you handle it in the strength and the peace of God.
Yes.
And standing on His promises. And that's a takeaway that a lot of us can gather from and take away from, that we can rest in the peace of God, knowing that God, like they say, the scripture, Romans 8:28, and we know that all things work together for the good of them who are called according to Him. So when we know that all things work together, it's at that moment we can just rest in the fact that it's gonna be okay, because we know that all things work.
You're gonna go through some storms in life. That's a given. Yeah, that's a given. And but He's gonna bring you through those storms. You just have to trust Him. It might look bleak at a lot of times, but just hold on. Just have patience and trust Him.
As I just said, there's another side of through.
Yes.
There's another side of through, and we always say there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes,
there's another side called through. So, Miss Miles, I want you to do something at this point, in your coming through and the things that God was able to do in your life, and how He was able to give you that strength and that peace that gets you to the place that where you are, and then you're still radiating that peace, and you're still radiating the strength that God can give you, even though situations may come into your life. Like James said, when it comes, be to count it all as joy.
Right.
But I want you to speak to someone. Because there's some lady right now who's maybe just get the diagnosis. Some lady who may just found the line. And some lady who's about to get ready to go through the treatments may not have been in a place
Right.
where they were able to draw on that peace, or may not have had anyone around them to uplift them, to encourage them, to let them know that, you know, it may be a scary place now.
Yeah.
But just go through and just hold on to the faith that you have, or the peace that you have, and allow God to walk you through. And as He walking you through, people will come along to be a strength to you. So just speak to some lady right now, in your own special way.
I just like to, whoever's listening, that's going through or just got the diagnosis, just take a deep breath first. Just take a deep cleansing breath and release it.
Yes.
And give it to God. And give it to God. Rely on your family, the support from your family, your friends, your faith, and just trust God. Whatever His will is, just trust God, and you will be at peace.
Right.
You will be at peace. So I just like to say, first of all, take care of yourself. Get your checkups. If anything going on, your body's gonna let you know.
Right.
Don't ignore it.
Right.
Please don't ignore it. Just go and get yourself checked out.
Right.
And because by having cancer, breast cancer, it's not gloom and doom. They advancing with technology now.
Right.
So early detection is the key.
Early detection, and it's not a death sentence.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, because a lot of times people think it's a death sentence, but it's not a death sentence. And I just thank God that you came in today and you was willing to share your story and willing to speak to the issue of being a breast cancer survivor. And I'm just thankful for you to have him come today and grace the Eagles Nest on today.
But I do want to say that when I had lost my hair was just coming out because of the chemo.
Right.
And so I asked my husband, I said, "You shave my hair?" He said, "You really want to do that?" I said, "Well, it's coming out anyway." And I told him, I said, "Look, I am not about my hair."
Oh.
Right. Because I know it's going to grow back.
It's going to grow back. And that's another thing that a lot of people, when they do, and it comes out that is a self-esteem thing for a lot of women when they're dealing with going through the breast cancer. And that was something that you just said right there. It's going to grow back.
It's going to grow back. Go on, get that wig, put that wig on and shake it off and put it on.
Put your hoops on and your makeup on and keep it going.
Keep it moving.
Because it will grow back, because you are more than your hair. Now that's a good takeaway right there. You are more than your hair. And I just want to say thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much
for having me.
And if you find yourself in an Eagles Nest, remember, you're coming out soaring.
Yes.
This is Elder Sylvia Yates. This is my guest, Miss Sherry Moss. And until the next time, bye-bye.